Hello and welcome to today's class. In this class, we are going to discuss the poem Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. Pablo Neruda was the pseudonym of Neftali Ricardo Reyes Basalto, was a Nobel Prize-winning Chilean poet. He adopted his pen name in 1920. Neruda wrote in a variety of styles such as love poems, as in his collection 20 Poems of Love and a Song of Despair. He wrote surrealist poems, historical epics, and political manifestos. His poems are full of easily understood images which make them no less beautiful. He was also a diplomat and a politician. He has received numerous prestigious awards which included the International Peace Prize in 1950, the Lenin Peace Prize and the Stalin Peace Prize in 1953. He was also awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1971. He wrote almost 140 poems and he left for the Heavenly Award in the year 1974. The poet visualizes a state of comfortable inertia where he wishes for pleasant idleness and relaxation away from the frantic rat race, destructive activities, and futile wars. So, in this poem, the poet has emphasized in a state of silence where people will be away from their busy lives, their destructive activities, and futile was. It will give us a moment of relaxation where we can meditate and introspect our actions. He wishes for a profound silence and stillness that would elevate the sadness caused by lack of self understanding and the threat of destruction and build up a sense of togetherness. So, in this poem, the poet he wants that silence and stillness will act as a miracle in order to remove the sadness of our lives and also to remove that fear of death which we constantly feel. And this will bring a sense of togetherness, mutual understanding, and universal brotherhood among people. We will be united together, irrespective of a caste, creed, race, religion, language, culture, nationality, and geographical divisions. So, silence will unite mankind. Let's begin the poem. Now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. The poet urges each one of us to count up to 12 and keep quiet. In these lines, 12 could represent 12 hours of a clock, 12 months of a year, 12 zodiac sign. The poet wants people to keep quiet for a span of time. He wants people to be silent as long as possible. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. In these lines, the poet wants a moment of silence during our existence on earth, during our life on earth. He doesn't want people to speak in any language as language acts as barrier between people. Language acts as a dividing force. In this moment of silence, the poet doesn't want anyone to move their arms. He wants us to be motionless and commit ourselves to complete silence and inactivity. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. The poet says that this moment of silence will be an exotic moment, an extraordinary, memorable, and cherished moment. It will be an experience that we have never had before. Human beings in the modern world have a fast paced life, But when we observe silence, there will be no rush of activity, no noise, no disturbance. There would be no use of machines as well. It would be a strange and unfamiliar moment with stillness all around. This moment of silence will be a moment of bonding and togetherness. Silence will unite us all. There will be a complete relaxation of mind, body, and soul, and hence it will be an exotic moment for human beings. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. In these lines, the poet says that in this moment of silence, in inactivity, fishermen would not be catching fish. They won't harm the marine life. Cold sea denotes the coldness of fishermen who do not bother about protection of sea life. And in moments of inactivity, they would not disturb sea life. The salt gatherers would stop to look at their hands, the hands that are hurt due to salt gathering. They will be able to tend to their wounded hands for which they did not have time earlier. The poet tells that nature and human beings will be able to recover from their wounds in this moment of silence and inactivity. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victories with no survivor, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing. In these lines, the poet feels that the whole speculation of war and their destructive qualities would be negated during these moments of silence. Green wars refers to environmental degradation caused by human activities. Wars with gas and fire refers to wars fought with nuclear and bioweapons. Man get the satisfaction of being victorious, but ironically, wars leave behind no survivors to enjoy and celebrate their victory. The poet says that such men who wage war would stop their inactivity, shed their clothes stained with blood of humanity, put on clean clothes, and walk with their brothers, building universal brotherhood. The poet implies that war-torn world should be replaced by one with an atmosphere of peace, brotherhood, and harmony. Such men not only be in harmony with each other, but nature, as now they will walk under the shade of a tree without harming it. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. The poet in these lines is saying that while he is propagating silence, his advice should not be confused with total inactivity, that is death. He doesn't want death, he only wants silence because he doesn't want us to associate his silence with death. The poet says life is meant to be lived, to be enjoyed, and we should continue living our life without hurting, injuring anyone else. If we were not so single minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt the sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. The poet further says that people should stop being self centered and selfish. For one moment, they should not think of keeping their lives moving, meeting their needs, or fulfilling their wishes. Our desire to achieve goals makes us single minded and desperate, and we forget about others. In spite of self centeredness, man is unhappy and sad due to the fear of death and the inability to understand oneself. The poet firmly believes that this moment of silence will elevate the sadness from our lives. For some time, we will forget the sadness of not understanding. We will forget the threat of death. The poet says that quiet productivity in place of all activities is desired at this moment. The moment of introspection will help us overcome the sadness of our lives. According to the poet, the end of all activities doesn't mean death, but just a break from the monotony of stressful life, a moment for reviving ourselves. Perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. In the last lines, the poet feels that we can learn a lesson from earth. It can teach us how silence is productive. The earth appears calm and quiet, but is actually nurturing life beneath. He wants us to observe that there is activity under apparent stillness. He gives us an example that a seed sown in the soil appears dead on the surface, but later grows into a huge tree. Life is born from such seeds lying dead. So we may also seem to be dead, but there is hope that there can be a new beginning. We can start a fresh life, live it with harmony and peace. Now I'll count up to 12 and you will keep quiet and I will go. The poet appeals to all human beings to make an effort to remain inactive and quiet. He has initiated the state of inactivity, and now it is the human beings who will carry on with this idea while he makes a quiet exit. I hope you have understood the explanation of the poem. Thank you for watching it till the end. In the next part of the poem, we will discuss the theme, the title, different types of poetic devices used in the poem, and variety of questions from the poem.